Hello everyone, it's great to see you. Before we get started, would like to say that if you like this video, please like the video and feel free to subscribe if you're interested in more content. Would love to have you here in this little community where we just hang out, chat about games. And today, I'd like to talk about Halo Reach. Published by Microsoft, developed by Bungie. This is kind of funny for a couple reasons. When I think about Bungie nowadays, I think Destiny and PlayStation. But there was an era in which, Bungie for many years was really a Microsoft brand. And I've had exposure over the years to many titles in the series. I remember playing so much Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer when that was around. I was also a huge fan of Halo 3, and funny enough, I missed out on Halo 2 quite a bit. And before I had ever played a Halo game, I actually read Halo Reach, the novel. And so I knew a lot about, the novel talks a lot about Master Chief specifically and kind of his transformation into a Spartan. So this game actually does kind of diverge from the novelization of Halo Reach. But for many years I'd wanted to play this because people have always said Halo Reach is one of the best games in the entire Halo lineup of games. And so yeah, I was really excited to pick this up and give it a try. Checking out the box art here. I like the box art. I think it's kind of cool and dramatic in a lot of ways. And we get some action shots on the back, which I think are pretty neat as well. And sadly, my copy is not complete. I'm actually missing the manual, but we can see the CD in there. And I picked this game up because I have an Xbox One, and so I've been trying to take more advantage of the backwards compatibility program and really wanted to play Halo Reach. Now unfortunately, I have the Master Chief collection on disc, and if you have it on disc, I think you miss out on Reach and you miss out on ODST. So it was okay. I decided to just pick up a physical copy to add to the collection. So a little bit about this game's development. It's a 2010 first-person shooter, so wow, already almost 15 years old. And it's a direct prequel to Combat Evolved. I think the game really ends on where Combat Evolved somewhat begins. And Halo Reach takes place in 2552, and humanity has basically been in an ongoing war with the Covenant, who is an alien race, and they're seeking to exterminate humanity. Just some general background on the world and the universe of Halo. And so you play as Noble Six. He's a member of the Spartans, a super soldier group. Master Chief is also a Spartan, and so this is kind of an era before when Master Chief was not the only one, right? And these Spartans are basically attempting to hold a defensive line for humanity here on Reach that's currently getting invaded by the Covenant. And this game's development came in part because after Halo 3, Bungie kind of split into two teams, one that was focused on making Reach and then one that was focused on working on Halo ODST. And the Reach team really wanted to go back and wanted to kind of clean up some of the roots of the stories they'd been building on in Halo 1 through 3. And it seems like it was successful because the game was quite popular in a lot of ways. So those are kind of the big things I wanted to mention about just the overall history and development of the game. The game, when it released, went on to sell millions of copies. It was highly critically acclaimed. And nowadays, again, you'll find it on as the top ranked game or one that a lot of people say, it's not as good as people say. So I'm curious to share my experiences playing the game and think about where I would kind of place it as well. So from a gameplay lens, this is very Halo coded. You are Spartan. You'll go from mission to mission, and this game has like 10 or 11 missions or something like that, and takes, I would say, 8 hours to complete or so. And you get your standard assault rifle, battle rifle, and you basically go from area to area, cleaning out and clearing Covenant out of those areas that you kind of barge through, right? And the gameplay is so fun. It's been a long time since I've played a Halo game, so it was just really exciting to put it on kind of a casual difficulty, sprint into an area, jump, throw some grenades, blow up some little minions and so on. And so was having a blast from a gameplay perspective, because the game is very simple. If somebody's never played a first-person shooter, Halo is a perfect introduction, because the amount of controls required to really function effectively in a Halo game are quite small, right? You can throw grenades, you can switch between two weapons that you have on you at any time. You can jump, and then there's some other fun little mechanics that you'll find. There's some kind of open spaces throughout the levels where you will drive vehicles or hijack vehicles that you need, and you'll go from objective to objective and basically just pick up weapons along the way and so on. I found kind of the overall gameplay to be quite fun, because they throw in a few other tweaks here to the overall formatting. One of those being there's some flying combat missions that are really cool, one in space and then one like high up in this cloud city kind of situation. And there's some modifiers you can pick up for the Spartans that kind of give you a special skill, whatever kind of special skill you want, which could be a jetpack, or it could be a shield, or you could turn invisible or sprint. And so it was kind of cool that throughout the levels you would have the opportunity to kind of revisit those spaces and think, okay, what would be the best item for me to have in these situations? And because I was playing this on a relatively easy difficulty, I was just getting sprint, because I just wanted to sprint through areas and jump in the air, and as I was saying, throw grenades and blow stuff up and shoot the Covenant. So I had a lot of fun from a gameplay lens, and if you've played a Halo game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was really fun to also have the continuity of playing this co-op with somebody else. And we're both Spartans, and that kind of makes sense in a lot of ways. Like Halo 3, you would be Master Chief, of course, and then you'd be the Arbiter. But I think in Halo 1 or 2, you were just two Master Chiefs. And so kind of having the continuity of going through the levels together makes a lot of sense. The story here is kind of some of the beats that I already hit on, but essentially the Covenant are invading the human world of Reach. And it kind of starts with just, some comm systems are going down. What's happening? And the Spartans, they eventually realize, it's the Covenant, and they're attacking this area. And then you essentially follow a campaign all the way through the point of attempting to defend people, leaving Reach and escaping Reach, and so on. Because there are multiple Spartans, and because we kind of have a realistic sense of what happened to the Spartans, there's some level of knowing kind of where the story goes. There are parts where some tragic things happen to this team and to people in the circumstances, and just I think one of the pieces for me was knowing what was coming around the corner at times made it not as dramatic or like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened, as you would think, because I kind of already had a feeling that, okay, maybe this is where it's going. And so that was kind of, up or down for me overall, I'll say. But I did enjoy the story. The story's meant to be really a placement for you to just go through and enjoy the gameplay, I feel like, for a lot of Halo titles. And so I felt like it felt really fit into the environment, so to speak. And as a prequel, I think it also has a lot of support on what's to come that allows you to just kind of sit back and enjoy the gameplay style. And I think that the campaign overall here is very solid and a lot of fun. So from like a story lens, or from like a music lens, the music here is fantastic. They had the guys come back who worked on the original Halo games scores, which I think are McDonnell and Salvatore, those two guys. And they really bring it home here. All of the music has that, Halo, like, kind of vibe to it. Excuse me, I'm not a singer. And then also there's some really great kind of tribal, what you'd imagine to be like a future tribal, percussion heavy instrumentation throughout. And I just thought that really the music was fantastic. And I loved, almost just as much as enjoying the gameplay and playing the game, I just loved listening to the music along the way. It was something that really stuck out to me, and I think really adds to the overall experience of this game, from the lens of enjoying it as a gamer. And so big ups there. I think a lot of the audio, otherwise sound effects and things, they're serviceable. They do what they need to do, and they sound like something you would expect to see in a Halo game. So no surprises there particularly. I played this on backwards compatibility, as I mentioned. Graphically, the game still looks really great. I think because Bungie kind of adopted and continued to use this more cartoony style and visual approach to the Halo games, that it allows, even so many years later, the game to still look visually interesting. And there's a lot of spots in this game where, because of the world design, the level design, and what you're doing in it, are engaging to look at and enjoy. And I didn't really notice a whole lot of low texture, low polygon count models and areas in the game, and so that was impressive to see as well. And I don't know how much of that necessarily plays into the backwards compatibility versus the original release, but I thought the game looked fantastic overall, and so that was really exciting to see. There's not much in particular I can say that I didn't necessarily enjoy about the game. I think the game could have been a little longer, and I would have appreciated that. But I think a big thing about the Halo games has always been the multiplayer. I'm not a big multiplayer guy. I actually don't know if the servers are kind of up and running for Reach and available to jump on the backwards compatibility side of the game. So I didn't really dive into multiplayer. I just wanted to go through and enjoy the campaign and kind of bring myself up on, why so many people highly praise Halo Reach. And I understand why, because overall it's not a game that's jumping out of the box and doing something new, but it's very safe and it's very, very clean, and it's exactly what you would want if you wanted to play through a Halo game. It's got really tight and effective gameplay. Visually, it looks interesting. The music is fantastic. The story is serviceable. Because I read the novel, the differences that show up in the novel and kind of this game's lore kind of threw me for a loop, but it'd been so many years since I read it that maybe that wasn't too big of a deal. And overall, just had a really fun time. It's a quick, as I said, 7-8 hour campaign experience. There's some fun, unique gameplay styles that they throw in here compared to my experiences with the original 3 games. And so it was a blast to pick up. And it was pretty cheap. I think I got it for less than $10 or so. And so, definitely worth checking out. That's really a lot of my thoughts about the game. So 2 things I want to do. So first I want to ask, Halo Reach, have you played Halo Reach? What do you think of Halo Reach? And where does Halo Reach rank overall in your vision of the Halo series as far as best to worst? For me, I think Halo 3 has always been the peak Halo game, because I remember so well the launch and the marketing of the game and the first time it booted up, and I heard that opening track that's playing during the menu in Halo 3, and I really enjoyed a lot of the levels, and I thought that they were very fun and unique and dynamic, especially like when you're driving warthogs and going off jumps and stuff, as Halo 3 gets a little dramatic towards the end. And all that is to say, Halo 3 is still my favorite Halo game, but I did enjoy Reach quite a bit, and I would say that it's worth playing. I'd probably rank it somewhere in Combat Evolved and Reach. I'd probably put them together. And a big thing I didn't really say is that it's because the gameplay style, they tried to kind of emulate what Combat Evolved was similarly, because it's a prequel, and kind of align it with that, as opposed to a lot of the later things they would do in Halo 2 and 3. Little things like dual wielding, for instance, or some various gameplay enhancements. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Again, I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, let me know, and please share your thoughts on Halo Reach. All right, look forward to seeing you next time, and take care, everyone.